Good morning, friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm the GM Philosopher, and today I want to talk about going a level deeper with your research, making your sessions way more immersive by courtesy of doing deeper research. Now, you might ask, what do you mean, GM Philosopher? Do deeper research, like how deep and what should I research? And what am I even looking for? Well, this is a great question, and I want to discuss this in this video, and I want to give you my updated, deeper research strategy that I am starting literally this year to use when I research sessions, because let's just be honest, we want to get better as GMs, we want to run better games, we want our games to be more fun. I want my players to have a better time at my table, but this means putting in that work, putting in that time, but even more importantly than that, it means using your time in the wisest, best, most efficient manner possible. And this means having a research plan or a session prep plan. So, what should I spend my time on when I'm doing research is a great question. So, I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say, for example, that I'm preparing to run a session where the player characters are going to explore a cave. And let's say that we know, I have a pretty good, I have it under reasonable authority that they're going to go ahead and go through with exploring the cave. As you know, player characters sometimes abandon the plans you make, but we can do the best we can. And I'm going to prepare this cave to be explored, and I want to make it really deep. I want to make it immersive. So what kind of elements am I going to add to this? What can I do to deepen this cave exploring experience? Well, I'm going to walk you through my deeper research session prep formula. And in fact, I actually created an ebook for this. I have an ebook checklist. It's called the GM Philosopher's Deeper Research Session Prep Checklist, a 25-point checklist to help you go deeper than ever with session prep. If you would like to purchase this, you don't need to purchase this. You can use these fundamentals in any of your research, but if you'd like to just purchase my checklist that I use, the one that I put together, link is in the description. You can buy this for just $3 on my personal ebook store, and that will get you everything you're about to see here. So let's dive in. I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. So here's my deeper research session prep checklist, 25-point checklist. Now, here, let me describe for you what this is. So basically, this is a checklist that I use with 25 different, basically research question sort of templates for how to do deeper research on the topic that will help me to best illuminate how I should plan the next session. Okay, so how to use this resource. Identify the topic, review and select the questions. You may not need to use all 25 questions. Research and brainstorm, take notes on any insights you gather, weave it into your game, and then adapt and evolve as you go. Because, as you know, tabletop role-playing is an ever-shifting experience. So how do we use this with the cave exploration? I want to research caves. I want to make my cave session really awesome. So we're going to go to the 25 questions here. So historical context. Is this a question that could pertain to caves? I know caves have been around forever, so I'm going to skip that for a minute. Founding and origins. How did this place, organization, phenomenon come into existence? Okay, this is actually really interesting. I'm going to make a note to go research the founding of caves. So I'm going to write that in my notes. Mythic or legendary ties. What legends or folklore surround this topic? So this is another really good question. And just for clarity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and go do a little bit of research to get started, and I'm going to return and let you know what I find, just to give you an example. Now, real quick, before we move on to the next part, I just want to let you know, if you struggle to come up with plot arcs on your own and you're not quite sure how to come up with those plot arcs, spur of the moment when your players do crazy things, well, I have an ebook to help you with that. I give this ebook away for free. It's called My Ultimate Plot Randomizer, and basically what it is it's an ebook with 4 D100 tables that'll let you random roll plot arcs on the fly. So there's the hook table, there is the complication table, as you can see here, there's the climax table, and then there's also a wild and wacky table to throw in wild and wacky stuff that your players will never see coming in your plot arcs. If you struggle with just coming up with all those plot arcs on the fly when your players do unexpected things, that's exactly what I created this ebook to do. I use this all the time. It really helps me not only with session prep, but also on the fly when I'm coming up with plot arcs and I'm not quite sure where things are going. So you can grab this for free. Links in the description. If you join my email list, the first email you get, which will come within seconds, will have this ebook link embedded right in it. You can download it, print it out, keep it with your tools, and if you ever need a random table for plot hooks, boom, you'll have it right there with you. With that being said, let's dive back into this, talk about the next section. Now, I went and did some research, and I've compiled a bit of my research into just some notes, and I'm going to share them with you here to give you an example of sort of what I'm doing. And this will be really interesting so that you can see what my research prompted by the first two questions I decided to go deeper with from my template, like what they resulted from. And I spent quite a bit of time doing this, but I'm going to just share with you my notes from this research real quick. I didn't want to walk you through all of my reading and video watching, but okay, here's what I found. Caves typically form through natural geological processes. In limestone regions, mildly acidic water, often containing dissolved carbon dioxide, seeps down through rock fissures, slowly dissolving and enlarging pathways over many thousands or even millions of years. This process creates passageways and chambers underground, resulting in the classic karst cave systems. Other types of caves can form via lava tubes when molten lava flows beneath a solidified surface, or through wave action at sea cliffs, which carves out sea caves. So right away, this gave me an idea. I thought about, okay, cave, we go to cave. But then I thought about, what about that water flow, right? The water dripping down, flowing down. Okay, I'm thinking like a drip, 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 like there's this wet dripping sound in the caves. It's dark, you hear this dripping, this incessant dripping. And to me, this already gave me kind of a cool note, thematic element. Make sure you keep describing the water dripping in the cave. I feel like that's kind of like a creepy little detail, but I wanted to put that in basically as I was researching this. That just stood out to me. I would not have thought about that had I not gone into the research. Now I'm going to move down here to the next section. Throughout history, caves have held deep mythic and spiritual significance. Many cultures viewed them as gateways to the underworld, dwellings of gods or spirits, and places of rebirth or initiation. In Greek mythology, for instance, caves were sacred to deities like Hades, ruler of the underworld, while Celtic lore often presented caves as portals to the otherworld. In many traditions worldwide, from the Elephanta caves in India to the underground chthonic shrines of ancient Mediterranean cults, caves were chosen as sites for religious ceremonies, reflecting their symbolic power as womb-like enclosures, protective refuges, and conduits to hidden realms beyond ordinary human experience. Now, as I was going through this really gave me some interesting inspiration. So I thought to myself, okay, I basically wanted them to explore a cave. Maybe going to have some bandits in the cave. But now I'm thinking, well, maybe they are bandits, but maybe it's a cult. And maybe they think of this cave as a womb for some kind of otherworldly creature. And maybe there is a portal to another world, or maybe they believe there is, or maybe there was, and now there are the remnants of a portal. So you can see right away, even just taking two of the first three questions in this checklist and then exploring those things, just typing those things into Google, typing those things into YouTube, whatever, and then just doing some reading for 10-15 minutes results in some really interesting and cool inspiration. Now imagine taking all 25 of these questions and doing just a little bit of research into that. Let me show you a little bit deeper what I mean by this. So in order to come up with the inspiration I've already come up with, I researched founding and origins and then mythic or legendary ties. What if I research more about cultural significance? And once again, this 25 question research template ebook, you can buy this in my personal bookstore. Links in the description. I just charge $3 for it. And when you purchase it, that money just goes to help the channel and support the channel, supporting me, who's a small creator who loves TTRPGs and loves to create resources for them. Now, with that being said, let's take a look here. Cultural significance, environmental and geographic details. I want to look up the environmental and geographic details of caves. I want to learn a little bit more about that, because now I'm starting to think to myself, okay, maybe there's a cult in here. Now I might research that, basically I want to research cults that would view caves. And this is kind of a research, but I also want to make this a creative, inspiring process. So cults that look at caves as a sort of metaphor of the womb, and then maybe there's a portal, or there was once a portal. I kind of think there was once a portal. It's not there anymore. And then also environmental and geographic details of caves, and then how a cult might arrange themselves into such a cave. So I'm going to go do some research. I'm going to do some work on that, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back in video. This might take me a while to do in real life, but okay, I'll be right back. All right, so I spent a bit of time fleshing this out and I came up with some pretty interesting stuff. First of all, I came up with some interesting history where cults or religious groups have used caves as a womb like metaphor in their religious rites and beliefs. And then I also researched like how a cult or a group or a religious group might use the natural environment of a cave to suit their worship and their lifestyle. And then from this, I created an actual cult that I want to put in this D&D session to flesh out this cave. So when the cave gets explored by the player characters deep within the cave, they are going to find this cult. And so I'm going to share with you what I came up with. So it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty metal. And the interesting history was what helped to inform this. And so that's kind of the going deeper part of the research. So let's dive into this. I'm going to show you what I came up with. All right, so first of all, we have this Minoan cave sanctuaries in Crete information. In Minoan Bronze Age Crete, caves were important cult sites, often associated with a female deity or great mother figure. Archaeological excavations in the Idaean Cave, Mount Ida, and Psychro Cave, Lasithi Plateau, have revealed ritual vessels, votive offerings, and evidence of communal rites. Just a note, I have never heard a lot of these terms spoken, so I'm probably reading them wrong. Drop me a comment to let me know if I'm reading them wrong. Womb symbolism. Scholars in Minoan religion have suggested that the natural cavity of a cave evoked the womb of the earth, aligning with fertility and renewal themes central to a mother goddess cult. Anthropologist and historian of religion Mircea Eliade, Patterns in Comparative Religion, argue that subterranean cult sites frequently symbolize an entrance to the Earth Mother's womb, a place of gestation and subsequent rebirth. Okay, so now we have the Mithraism in the Roman Empire. Mithraism was a mystery cult that flourished in the Roman Empire from the 1st to 4th century CE, centered on the deity Mithras. Mithraic temples, called Mithrae, were typically constructed as artificial caves or underground chambers. Okay, womb symbolism. In Mithraeum's cave-like shape, the Mithraeum's cave-like shape was not accidental. Devotees believed Mithras was born from the Petra Genetrix, a cosmic rock, closely linking the deity's creation myth with an enclosed womb-like rock space. Many scholars see the cave motif as a symbolic of cosmic birth or gestation, situating initiates within the generative darkness from which Mithras, and by extension the universe, emerged. Okay, then we have stuff from Indian cave temples and Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain traditions. Okay, from the 2nd century BCE onward, the Indian subcontinent saw the development of numerous cave temples, e.g., the Ejata, Ellora, and Elephanta caves, carved from living rock as places of worship and monastic dwelling. And then there's womb symbolism there. While not all Indian cave temples explicitly invoke a womb metaphor, the central sanctuary, particularly in Hindu temples, is traditionally called I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, the womb chamber. Scholars note that by transposing the womb chamber concept into an actual cave, worshippers deepen the sense of returning to the cosmic source, Mother Earth, or the primordial void from which life emerges. Now, I have come up with this cult. Okay, tell me. Now, you leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this. But the cult name is the Children of the Earth's Vein. Core beliefs and inspiration. Drawing on real-world womb cave symbolism, like Minoan and Mithraic reverence for womb-like spaces, the Children of the Earth's Vein believe their vast cavern home is both a literal and metaphorical womb to the Great Mother. They hold that all life must return to her depths to be cleansed, reborn, and eventually emerge stronger. Their rituals revolve around cyclical death and rebirth themes, echoing ancient mystery cults that used cave chambers as portals to hidden knowledge and spiritual renewal. So here's some structure and practices I came up with. Great Earth Mother. They worship an enigmatic Earth goddess, part protector, part primordial force. And then I would probably choose like a goddess, a local goddess who they don't quite understand, but they just revere her as this. Initiation rites. New followers descend into a birthing chamber deep within the cave where they symbolically die in darkness before a guided ritual rebirth into the cult's ranks. Living rock altars. Stalagmites shaped or carved over time serve as natural altars. Sacrificial offerings or libations are poured onto these formations so that they trickle down into the living rock, feeding the Earth Mother. This could be the blood of their enemies, which is actually kind of metal. Choral chanting. Echoing songs and chants are critical to their ceremonies, harnessing the natural acoustics of winding tunnels to magnify their reverence for the subterranean realm. And then I kind of use my research into like the environments of caves to talk about like their daily life and stuff. So hidden labyrinth layout, the children have deliberately expanded upon natural fissures and corridors, creating a maze-like network that confounds intruders. Secret passages concealed by stalactite formations act as protective barriers. And I'm thinking they use like rock shaping magic for this, which is kind of cool. Fungal gardens, bioluminescent fungi thrive in the moist recesses of the cave. The cult cultivates these mushrooms in terraced rock beds for nourishment and dim lighting, symbolizing the inner fire of the earth. We have natural aquifers. Underground streams and mineral springs provide fresh water. The cult has learned to channel these flows into small grottos used for ritual purifications and healing baths. Ventilation and smoke chambers. Rather than risk the stagnant air of enclosed spaces, they've carved narrow air shafts and designated smoke chambers to direct cooking fumes or incense out of living areas, maintaining habitable conditions. There are defensive perches and observable points. Elevated ledges and column-like rock formations serve as vantage points for lookouts. Should interlopers venture in, the cult members can ambush from above using their knowledge of echoing corridors to confuse and scare off trespassers. And then there's a ceremonial heart chamber. This is kind of a cool thing. At the deepest accessible point of the cave lies a heart chamber, a large cavern whose walls are streaked with iron-laden rock that glimmers red under torchlight. Here the cult gathers for their most sacred rites, believing the blood-red veins in the walls to be the Earth Mother's lifeblood. And then I've come up with some story hooks here. Disappearance rumors. Local villagers whisper about travelers going missing near remote cavern entrances. Are they being reborn into the cult, or is something more sinister at play? Sacred artifact. Legends speak of a relic hidden deep in the heart chamber. This will play to the treasure seekers of your group. Perhaps a powerful earth-based artifact. Acquiring it might require negotiating or clashing with the children of the Earth's vein. Or call for aid. A patron hires adventurers to explore the labyrinth when a family member joins the cult, hoping to disrupt rituals that they fear may be lethal rather than symbolic. The point being is that if I just flew by the seat of my pants, running my players into a cave setting, and I thought to myself, well, there might be some bandits here, I would have come up with something probably a lot thinner, probably a lot less fleshed out, probably a lot less interesting than this is shaping up to be. And I've only gone through a few of the questions, and I'm not going to bore you with any more of my research or creation. The point of this is for you to take these types of questions and then use them to flesh out your own stuff in your own games. Now, let me just take you through the whole list of the 25 different questions in my checklist to give you an example of all 25 of the questions that I'm going to start asking myself every time I start to research something for one of my sessions. There's historical context, founding and origins, mythic or legendary ties, cultural significance, economic and resource factors, environmental and geographic details, architectural or structural features, key players and factions, political and social dynamics, religious or spiritual connections, daily life and practical use, influence on surrounding areas, flora and fauna, hazards and challenges, sensory details, typical encounters or events, in-game hook potential, unique plot twists or secrets, artistic or cultural expressions, past and present evolution, allied and enemy perspectives, potential future developments, player character ties, immersion and atmosphere planning, and then adaptation and improvisation. And once again, with a lot of these things, what we're looking at is what research could I do to help give me a little more inspiration? You might be researching caves, you might be researching bandits, you may be researching armies that are sort of made like the Roman army. Maybe you're researching real life explorations into things like alchemy, right? Whatever it is, maybe you're researching matriarchal societies or a specific kind of government structure. Whatever it is, the point of this checklist is to give you 25 ideas for how to research, or in some cases, brainstorm a level deeper. And then you can connect those threads across to go even deeper. And then this gives you way more real feeling situations and way more immersive settings with which to run your games that your players will find way more interesting. Because the truth is that when you go a little deeper with your research and you come up with a deeper thing or group or religion or government structure or forest or whatever, when you come up with something deeper and then you give the details for that, this is going to make the players think, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. I'm so actually interested in this. And that makes for a very fun game. That makes for lots of investigation, discovery, right? Exploration. And it also makes the players feel awesome when their characters learn new things and discover new things, and that just feels really good, and it's super fun. Plus, there's the combat and there's all the other elements to it, but the point is, going deeper with your research will yield better results. Now, there's one other thing I want to share with you that will help you to go deeper with your research, your inspiration, your world building, your adventure building, and that is the Dungeons & Dragons Worlds and Realms Adventures from Greyhawk to Faerun and Beyond hardcover collection. Now, I'm going to put an image of the cover up here in my video, but if you really want to read this, you want to see some pictures of the pages and whatnot, then you'll want to go to my description, click on my Amazon link, and go visit the listing. This collection celebrates 50 years of the spellbinding settings and planes of D&D with this beautiful illustrated exploration of the multiverse. This incredible journey through fantastical realms that inspired countless tables to roll dice together is both an educational and visual treat, says Matt Mercer. And Worlds and Realms is basically an illustrated, story-driven retrospective celebrating the immersive world building of D&D since the iconic game's inception in 1974. From the legendary mage Mordenkainen to many other fascinating and interesting creatures, places, and events within the game. If you are looking for some awesome inspiration for your next setting, I would highly recommend flipping through this, and you're going to get like a million ideas. It's priced really affordably right now, so make sure to click on that link and go check it out, because you just may want to order this to help you beef up that session prep even more. And as a qualified Amazon affiliate, if you click on my link and you order something through Amazon, I may earn a very small commission at no additional cost to you. This small commission goes to help me support my channel. And hey, if you're buying it anyway, may as well buy it through me. And I would be so grateful. Thank you so much for doing that. But really, I just think this is an awesome looking product. And while I have not personally yet ordered it, I just might. So boom, I think it looks incredible, and I love some of the old-fashioned artwork that's in it too. I think that also, if you're a history buff of D&D, it's a super cool product. So boom, featured product of the video. Let's go. And with that being said, without further delay, that's going to be a wrap. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode of GM Philosophy in the morning. I'm here every single day creating videos about the best game in the world, D&D. So I will see you awesome people on the next one. Roll some D100s for me at your next game, and let's rock and roll.